first in a new series now on BBC World News of films from South Africa. With the country having the world's second highest murder rate, rural white South Africans live in fear and their numbers are rapidly diminishing. Now, a poignant film from their increasingly haunted perspective. Forest of Crocodiles.
Hello, I'm Khomotso Matsunyane, and this is Johannesburg. 2010 is a big year for us here in South Africa. 20 years ago, Nelson Mandela was released from prison, and this year, in June, we host the World Cup. To me, as someone who works in media, I see a country that is reflecting back on its past as well as interrogating its present. But what do other South African filmmakers have to say about our country? We've chosen a range of documentaries to give you a flavor of today's South Africa. We start with a film about white fear of black crime. Of course, crime affects absolutely everybody here in all communities. But for those that can afford it, they build up high walls, hire armed security, and live in gated communities like this. The director, Mark Aitken, explores the effect this level of fear has on a white rural community in the Northwest Province. It's a community he knows very well because his mother lives there. This is a place where black and white lead very separate lives, and the fear of fear feeds on itself.
I won't say there's a place on earth that would ever present freedom for me, because you would get to that place, you would experience it, and in the next moment you would think by yourself, that would be a great hiding place, or yeah, this can happen, no one will see. There's a lot of things that would come up then. The moment that you say you've got fear inside of you, then anything can happen. You open all doors, so anything that you're afraid of, or it starts as an idea in your mind, and then it starts growing, and then you start speaking it, and then it happens.
My feeling of hope makes it almost impossible to move to that side of living in fear. And when I'm confronted with fear and things like that, I revert to what I believe.
So I was still in school and I dreamed this house, how it would look, how I was sitting upstairs looking down at the open plan and all the rooms and everything, how it would look like, with no burglar bars, no fence. It was an open house. We've got radio contact with each other, all the houses, and if someone hears something, they would radio. So you know that they were watching the house, they were also sitting in the bush. And me alone as a woman, no, I don't think I would even go and walk in a public street alone. Sometimes the men would go out, start driving around, so you can get the sense of feeling trapped.
She doesn't like to walk from the TV room to the sitting room or to the kitchen alone. And it's now a few months she's sleeping in her own room again. If you're going at night to other places, you've got the feeling of looking over your shoulder, you know. You're not enjoying actually the stuff you enjoyed anymore, you know, because, I mean, we're living in South Africa, we're not going away, and I think you just have, on your own way, make it safer for yourself.
I'm just putting colours on. I have nothing in my mind at all. I'm thinking as I'm going on while I'm painting. Once a colour is there, you can't take it away again. Can't remember coming across a crocodile in a folk tale. I've come across monsters See, that is what's so beautiful in these fairy tales, where you have these people that are turned into animals through enchantment. And it's a question of whether that animal nature gets the better of us, or whether one can meet it and overcome it. I could bring in a crocodile. Why not? Why shouldn't I bring in a crocodile?
This is a story about crocodiles that settled here a long time ago. From the beginning, they were hostile to all the other animals, and all the other animals were hostile to them. Yet, hostility was nothing new in this land. Fear ruled like never before.
Apartheid started in South Africa officially by request of the Dutch Reformed Church. I mean, it's a fact of history. We can't deny it. And I grew up Dutch Reformed, and part of the problem is language. One of the reasons why you would have only a white community is because they want to have their services in Afrikaans, which is not wrong, not at all. But apart from that, many of these people are living in fear. They feel pushed aside. I'm speaking of the Afrikaans-speaking people specifically. And so the political feeling mixes in with the church feeling, and the church is seen as the last place of safety for us. So we keep out other people who are not part of us, if I can put it that way. The people were afraid that the political changes and things would take away the church from them. The church as they know it, as a last place of refuge for them. That lies in the hearts of people. So they don't want the church to change because it's the one thing that does not change, or they hope so, but it doesn't work. Church is changing all the time. Traditionally, the people who came out here always had the feeling that they're in control. They're the bosses. That's a very important fact. If you read all the histories of all the European people who came out, they sort of were in control, and they want to be in control and still be in control. And that has changed totally at the moment. That is one of the reasons why there is this resistance. My life, I don't have control in the sense of the olden days. And I feel I don't know where I'm going. I'm not in control. I am being controlled. We've been living like that for years and years and years. That's the way we live. And frequently I've become very sorrowful about this through all these years, because I was always thinking, how much do my own people, my own white people, miss? How much do they miss?
It's as though they've got this hatred in their eyes for us. Maybe it's because of the past, the past history of South Africa. It must be that, I'm sure.
There's no black people in the school that she is now, so no. But I think that she would always have this question of, are they good or are they bad?
As soon as something as horrible as like this happens to you, that's what you fear. I don't fear white people. I don't fear white people, Indians, Asians, but black people. It sounds horrible. Really, it sounds horrible. It's not all of them that's that bad. It's 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 10,000. But now there's 30 million of them. Now you fear all 30 million because you classify all of them under the same
how do you teach a little child in South Africa not to be afraid of, other nations and especially black people? And the color thing has been so emphasized in our history and in our country that black and white is a reality whether you like it or not.
Violet is one color you can use for fear, to express fear. Violet has also to do with Saturn. It's also a holy color. Or lilac is more